this small preview to this channel as I'm busy right now. I could go over this later, but my little theory on how the world works, which I guess I don't think I'm correct. I don't think anyone can be correct, as there are a lot of factors such as nature and nurture, but it's basically just like, and also I guess it's also a critique of some political ideologies such as Marxism. Well, specifically the final stage, I think socialism has done some good for the world actually, such as in China, Vietnam. And if you think about how the USSR, unlike Stalin, I think Stalin was bad actually, but I was referring to Lenin and how Russia went from this to that. The feudalist czardom and the Soviet Republic, there's an obvious difference. Good one. Where else? Oh yeah, in Cuba they kicked out the bad guys. And if you include non-Marxist socialism, or what people consider to be revisionists, Yugoslavia, Egypt, Libya, where else? Oh yeah, this one's really important. Burkina Faso, and also just like leftist projects in general. Kerala, I heard it's pretty successful, but I'm not. But I haven't really digging deep into Kerala yet. Okay, anyways, what I wanted to say, my opinion, the two driving forces of the world, but I'd say that one of them, pleasure, is just like, it's a bonus that comes with authority, what I view to be the driving force of the world, what moves everything. Because if you think about it, like the entirety of history, your school, workplace, you're trying to fit in, aka having as much authority as everyone else, or you're looking for the interests of your family. You're trying to climb up that workplace ladder, trying to be also the school hierarchy, especially when we're children, workplace hierarchy, the nation, and just like Andrew Tate bros, for example, or just like Silicon Valley. Well, there's just an example. I mean, just like the world is the result of people competing for authority. And also the family unit, where in some regions of the world, where and also in Muslim countries. But by the way, I'm not critiquing Islam. I'm a Muslim myself, actually. So what I mean is that they give the husband or the father a responsibility over the household financially. So he then takes that responsibility and turns it into corrupt authority, and which is why women's rights are they don't exist in some families, this includes the West too, by the way. Like, you hear stories about husbands killing their wives, or family members killing each other in the West more often, which is awful, by the way. And this is what I was trying to say, that when people, they compete for authority, which is what sets our environments, whether it's on a global scale or just household scale. And after that competition is over temporarily, because the world changes and more people take authority, more people take power and basically sets the stage for how things are going to work. Like how one can use that authority for good and that authority for bad. And hey, you might say that you're comfortable with how you live. You don't want to be a CEO or anything like that, or start a revolution, disobey someone abusive in your life, which is a bad thing, by the way. I suggest you appeal, but think about that if that is happening to you anyways. What I wanted to say is that if you were a fucking slave, I hope you don't become one. Anyways, if you were a slave, probably not want to be a slave. You probably want to be equal to everyone else. And and some people don't like to be left out. For example, just like sets the stage, like, even in the lowest parts of the social hierarchy, people, they want to be like others, or they fight to climb that hierarchy. Like, why do you think slaves want to be free? They want to be equal to everyone else. Why do you think people try to fit in school? Why some people try to make themselves look tough when inside they're just little babies? Because they want that authority, they want that respect. And onto what I view to be the other driving force. I'm pretty sure it's not just that. Like, this is a huge oversimplification of the human condition, but I think through that you can start to understand how, like, other things work the way they work, because it has like a root cause. Also, I hope you guys like my hair shadow. Oh yeah, by the way, the reason I'm not showing my face is because I'm afraid you guys will fall in love with me. Okay, anyways, pleasure. And the reason I view pleasure as a bonus to authority, sure, anyone can masturbate right now, can spend money, can spend money mindlessly, and that's without taking the consequences into account. Like, if you have $10, why not spend $8 on an indie game and play that and then regret everything? Okay, anyways, when you have a lot of authority, when you have a lot of money, or when you got a lot of people working for you, basically the time and freedom to do what you want, you can just indulge yourself in anything you want without thinking about the long-term consequences, such as gambling, and another very prevalent one in today's age is masturbation. How, like, addictions in general can get really bad, like smoking, let me think, what, alcohol, just like, your video games, mindless entertainment, just your on-the-go stuff. Anyways, once you have a lot of money and freedom to act without consequences, You may indulge yourself in pleasure, which is why I view pleasure as an addition to authority, but it's not just an addition. Anyone can indulge in pleasure. Anyone can just theoretically, a homeless person with a phone could spend 20 hours watching a show and then sleep for 4 hours and repeat. Like, anyone can indulge in pleasure, especially today. But it's not guaranteed, and the consequences will be more impactful onto you or the people around you. Anyways, I view it as the driving force, because when you have a setback in life that is in your control, it's mostly due to pleasures such as an addiction that's harming you. Also, people usually act in pleasure. Entertainment, for example, like some movies can be philosophical. You can actually learn from them. But that's gonna mean nothing if you don't like the movie. Why would you want to learn from something you don't like? So like most people, they act for the sake of pleasure, and those that are stoic, devout to their religions, they may not say it directly, but they're acting against pleasure, and those who just don't give a shit about those stuff, they're usually happier in life. So like it's what's driving our emotions. It's the reason some people act the way they do, and they have better opportunities to indulge in these worldly pleasures when given the authority to do so. But yeah, by the way, I use the words authority and pleasure here very, very broadly. Like, authority can mean money, just like being a high school bully, anything. Anyways, I hope you guys understand what I'm trying to get to. I don't know the correct preposition. Fuck prepositions. Anyways, I guess that's about it. Like, I don't know what else to say. Oh, I forgot to say this part. It's really important. Another important thing that can help us, I guess, comprehend the world around us is that people, they act against displeasure, or they yearn for productivity. Like, one wants to do stuff with his day, with his life. He wants to change himself for the better. Man always wants to do that. People are productive. It acts against pleasure, and it's your job to let either pleasure win or productivity win, but not in excess. When I don't remember the exact quote, but states fail when their basic principle is exercised in excess, which was said by either Plato or Aristotle. I don't remember. I read it from a secondary source, the Story of Philosophy by Will Durant. Anyways, when one learns productivity too much, they will either become mentally or emotionally paralyzed, or it'll get in the way of other stuff, like talking, just like spending time with your loved ones, doing what you enjoy. Because, some of the smartest people in history, they did shit they enjoyed, and a lot of smart people in history, they wrote films. They loved watching films, reading novels, drawing. Sure, those are productive because they're good for the mind, but you can think about where it came from, because or it doesn't have to be useful. For example, I mean, it doesn't have to be useful, proportionally to your time. Like, one can spend 1 billion years studying how to make a pencil from scratch. They can also just buy a pencil and spend years studying medicine, finance, law, engineering. What I'm trying to get at is that passion is important too. Don't let productivity get in the way of enjoying life and your passions. But I think productivity should be ahead of should win against pleasure in the clash. Okay. So to summarize what I'm trying to say, like the three driving forces of humanity, just like authority, pleasure, and what do we call it? Productivity. It's just like two opposites in the brain clashing against each other, which is probably going to remind you of a lot of things, such as Sigmund Freud's thoughts, and Sigmund Freud is actually very important. And I've read a few of his lectures. I haven't gone into huge detail, so I don't know if this importance equates into relevance. But from what I've heard, he's not necessarily correct on everything, such as anyways, whatever. Just like this mode of thought that shows up, it's in a lot of people's philosophies and their thoughts. It's not like it's based off of nothing. So I think you should at least, by the way, this is just like the classification of the human mind, the human condition. This is simple analysis. This is not a discovery. It's a classification of the things that are there. Not like, kind of like how biology, not a lot of new stuff are made. It's usually just like classifying species, organisms, organs, cells, etc. Just you're describing what's there already in your own terms, so it makes sense to others. So it's not like I'm making something new up. I guess I'm providing my insights on the world around me and what I've read so far, which is quite minimal actually. I might link my Goodreads in the future once I become what I like to call more well-read. Anyways, back to the productivity versus pleasure. Like, humans are at a state of conflict. Humans are contradictory by nature, whether it's you acting against compulsive thoughts or having the urge to indulge in pleasure or study, for example. So just like humans are at a state of contradiction with those two driving forces, those two very important factors in life. There's something important that I forgot to say, and I forgot what it was, but I know that it will fully explain this theory. But I hope you guys get it for now. If I remember it, I'll say it in the comments. Goodbye.